She did it last year. Done it this year too. Excellency, thank you for the foundation that you've laid for us. I think it gives us the opportunity to say what we want to say and then also develop our points. I think one of the key things you said, or a statement you made, is that influence is leadership. And for many of us here, I'm sure we have people who are following us. A couple of you have about 100,000, 500,000, 1 million, and all that. So you should know that you are leading such a large number of people. And so whatever you put on your social media platform or whatever you say on there goes very far. For us, growing up in the 1970s and 80s, I think that we are the luckiest generation because we were torn between the generation of social media existence and social media non-existence. I remember very well when my father returned from Nigeria somewhere in 1989 or so. That was the time that, telephone, in fact, mobile phone was kind of being seen in our part of the world. His phone that he was using then was Nokia 101. And I'm sure most of you have not even heard of Nokia 101. Just Google and see the size of Nokia 101. And that was the phone that perhaps you may need a school bag to carry when you're going somewhere. But that was the generation that I think we learned a lot of things. Television in our country was just one television station. I remember in 1983, 84, it was only GTV or GBC. You wake up in the morning, there is a particular time that the TV station would have to come on. It's either it's starting at 6 a.m. and by 6 p.m. there is no television. You have to go and sleep. And for us who witnessed that kind of generation and the existence of the new generation that we are seeing today, where today you can sit in your room and talk to millions and millions of people. In school, when I was in JSS then, I remember it was then pen pal. How many of you here know of pen pal? Yes. In fact, you need somebody to give you an address of somebody living in Finland, and then you will take your time and write a letter on a sheet of paper and then post it. You go to the post office and you post. And those times, the mail would have to be picked, taken to the airport, take a flight all the way to Europe. And so for one statement or for one question that you need answered, it may take you a month, 4 weeks, sometimes 2 months, before the person will also reply or write to you. Today, it's a different story altogether. It's just a tap, and you're on Facebook. You can search anybody and everybody, and they would appear. And instant communication is possible. I think this is the luckiest generation ever in the history of mankind, and we have to, clap for ourselves for being part of this generation. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, I think it is important that we know who we are as influencers and the things we do. Who are we? When we post things on our social media platforms, who are we influencing? What information are we getting out there, or are we putting out there? I want to give you 9 pointers that will remind us of who we are, so that anytime you pick up your phone or go on social media and you want to send an information out there, you know the kinds of people and the impact that you are trying to make. 1, we amplify voices. We, as social media influencers, we amplify voices. Social media provides a platform for marginalized voices to be heard. It empowers individuals to share their experiences, raise awareness about pertinent issues, and demand change. And so, as influencers, your ability to amplify these voices can accelerate the process of addressing societal inequalities and injustices. 2, we foster dialogue and collaboration. And this is a very important point. The power of social media lies in its ability to facilitate open dialogue and constructive conversations. As influencers, your engagement in meaningful discussions can bridge gaps, cultivate understanding, and drive consensus on critical matters, contributing to the overall growth and harmony of our own nation. 3, spurring innovation. Always remember that innovation thrives in an environment of connectivity and collaboration. Through social media, ideas can be shared, critiqued, and refined rapidly, leading to the emergence of novel solutions to complex problems. And I want to give you an example of what Ambassador said, for example, today. We have issues all around the world, and one of the most important things that is very recent and very close to us is the situation in Niger. You know, in the waiting room, we were having a discussion that why now? Why should even West African, sub-regional leaders be thinking of going into Niger, to intervene in the military situation and out there? You have the power to bring ideas. And mind you, we are in a certain moment in our world, in our lifetime, that the leaders of our time have realized the importance of social media. And so don't think that when you tweet or you put something, the last resort, when diplomacy has failed, when our UN head and various leaders have sat down and talked about it, and it is not working, that is the only way that the West African sub-leaders are telling us that they would do or go into Niger for military intervention. And so remember that you have a say. Your voice can be heard depending on how you use your social media handles. 4, promoting civic engagement. Active citizen participation is the cornerstone of a healthy democracy. Social media platforms offer a direct line of communication between citizens and their government, enabling real-time feedback and accountability. Your role as influencers is pivotal in encouraging your followers to become informed and engaged citizens, shaping the direction of national policies. 5, which is very important and common to all of us, access to information and knowledge. Your platforms serve as an information hub. Always bear that in mind. You are granting people access to a wide range of knowledge and perspectives by sharing accurate, relevant, and well-researched information. You can empower your followers to make an informed decision, fostering a society that values education and critical thinking. 6, advocacy and awareness. Your influence extends beyond likes and shares. You should bear in mind that for somebody to like something that you have posted, it means that the person has consumed it, whether negatively or positively. So always bear in mind that you are an advocate for change. 7, economic empowerment. People would ask how. Today, people can sit in their rooms, not go on the street at all, and sell. You bear with me. We do not need to go to Papaye or Frankie's, or we do not need to walk there. We just have to be in our rooms, and then every purchases, every business, every transaction that we want to engage in happens. Today, we have millionaires because of social media. They do not even have to go out to do any transaction. But because of the positivity and their business mindedness, they are able to make money for themselves. And so social media offers entrepreneurial opportunities to individuals and businesses alike by highlighting success stories, providing business insights, and promoting responsible consumerism. You can contribute to economic growth and empowerment at local and national levels. 8, cultural exchange and understanding. On social media, I can go and Google Yoruba in Nigeria, and then I'll know everything about the culture of the people of Yoruba. Somebody can sit in New York City and determine exactly what is happening today. In fact, you know today Homo War is starting in the Greater Accra region. The people are celebrating and all that. Because of social media, because of your influences, because of the tweets that you will put on your social media handles, people beyond our shores, in Beijing, in China, in Nairobi, in Kenya, everywhere in the world, they would have an idea of what is happening. And so if you want to promote your culture, your handles are the best medium to do that. And finally, and most importantly, and I think His Excellency highlighted on that, mobilizing for positive change. Whether it's a disaster relief efforts, social campaigns, or grassroots movements, social media has the power to mobilize people for positive change. Your influence can spark online movement that transition into real-world impact, driving societal progress. And there have been several examples. The story of George Floyd, it was as a result of our new tool, which is social media, which is mobile phones, that was able to change the world that we are seeing today. And as a result of that, Black Lives Matter was invented or came out of that. And the social intervention that happened there, that should tell you the influence that we all wield, and we have to use it positively. It's crucial to recognize that with great power comes great responsibility, no matter how we look at it. Misinformation, cyberbullying, and the amplification of negativity and challenges we must navigate carefully. As influencers, your commitment to ethical practices, fact-checking, and fostering a healthy online environment is pivotal to ensuring that social media remains a force for good. Excellency, I think you said a lot. And so I would want to conclude on this message that I have for you for this 2023 Influencers Conference. I urge you to embrace your role as agents of change. Your voice can shape perception, inspire action, and steer our nation towards a brighter future. Let us work together to leverage the potential of social media as a catalyst for national development, promoting unity, progress, and positive transformation. To end it all and to wrap it all, I would want to say a big congratulations to organizers of this particular program. In fact, this is the first and the biggest, I should say, gathering of influencers from across the country and around our continent. In fact, people, I started with, I remember when we started media and journalism, people like Ameyaw Deborah and myself. In fact, we were lucky to be, the 2002 Africa Rising Ambassadors, for Malta Guinness. Everything that we were doing with regards to social media was just a dream. It was an ambition. We were trying to build things up. Today, Ameyaw Deborah is Ameyaw Deborah only because of social media. And so you can be you through the power of social media. Let's use it positively. Thank you.
Thank you. Is it safe to call you Honorable? Thank you, Honorable. Thank you so much. He said you can be you through the power of of social media. We've seen a lot of people become people thanks to social media. So why can't you also become something positive? Thank you so much, Honorable Member of Parliament in waiting. All right, so he said, Presido scrolls through his phone every morning, and I was wasting my time sending a message when I can just drop the message myself and he will see it. So now that we know that he sees everything we do, if you met the president today, what would you even want to tell him? What would you want to ask him? I see a lot of people with their iPads, iPhones, notepads, notebooks, writing, putting things down, and I know you have questions to ask. You've put down things. His Excellency is here. He'll be answering a few questions. We can take only but a few because, I mean, we have other speakers who are waiting. And of course, Mr. Sackey is also here to also answer questions. We'll take as much as we can so that we move on to the next item on our program. We have a poet here who would also be influencing us after this session. So please, poet, wherever you are, get ready. Please, questions. Our two speakers are ready and willing to answer you. Kindly put your hands up. Good, we have our first.
All right,
Okay.
so my name is Akins from Influencer Hub. I would want to ask, how do you deal with doubts from your own self-doubt, and doubt from the outside world? Yeah.
Okay. Who's the question for?
I mean, both.
Any of them?
Yeah.
Okay. Self-doubts.
Let them ask a number of questions.
Yes.
Why don't you ask a range of
Yes.
questions? Then we can answer.
First question, self-doubt. Next question, please. I think that's a very pertinent question because a lot of people really don't believe in themselves. A lot of young people tend to feel like, oh, I can't make it. Who am I? My father was a carpenter. Why would I be a lawyer? Questions, please. Feel free. Yeah.
Good morning. My name is Fad Abubakar. My question goes to the Honorable Member. It has got to do with an influencer having an anxiety when it comes to his line of work, how he deals with it. And my second question has to do with fact checks. When informations are put out there on social media or maybe on print media, how do you go about getting your fact checks? Thank you.
Okay. More questions? Okay.
All right, so still Akins from Influencer Hub. So I would want to ask that, what is more important? Is it innovation or integrity? What is more important? Thank you.
Okay. 2-in-1 question. Okay. Are the women not asking questions? It's men. Okay.
The government, maybe generally, looking at something that they can do. How can we make the society, social media, more acceptable and adaptable for people who want to work with social media? Also looking at how we can make money. Are there ideas to put some policies in place to ensure that people are safe when they are working on social media, and also maybe make money too? Thank you.
Okay. Great. Kindly give them.
So, thank you, and lots of really interesting questions. So let me tell you a story. When Yemi and Co came and said to me, "Hey, Charles, we'd like you to be keynote speaker," I also said, "What do I know about social? What do I know about influencing?" Right? So there's something called imposter syndrome, and the best people suffer from imposter syndrome. Am I good enough? Do I know enough? If anything, take it as a strength. It actually shows that you're balancing your confidence with your humility. Remember, I talked about that. Because really, if you think you know it all, you probably don't. Another quote for you from Malcolm Gladwell that simply says, you know, the more you know, the more you realize what you don't know. And so if you come at things from that perspective, you will be better. The second thing to deal with that, and I guess it also helps with anxiety too, is practice. If you think Obama turned up on the podium without practice, then you have another thing coming. This morning, I have a special guest who's actually in town. And we were talking about things generally, and she's done 3 TED Talks. And she said, listen, the kind of planning some people put into their TED Talks, the kind of rehearsal they do in order to be that slick, actually, it's not even real. Because by the end, they are just repeating what they've crammed into their heads, and actually, so they're not speaking with passion, they're not speaking from the heart, they're too scared. So being scared is not a bad thing to have. And actually, it's a good moral check for you. If I'm about to spout rubbish, am I sure? Because you shouldn't be spreading fake news. I mean, Jefferson's just spoken about the power that you have. If you have 1 million followers, there are no million constituents who are even going to vote for you. There are not up to 1 million people who vote for him. His power is much less than your own. You're unaccountable in a sense, because actually none of them can even hold you. If you even put somebody's picture on your social media page, in fact, they can't even identify who you are. You could be a guy with a woman's face. You could be a woman with a guy's face. And nobody will ever be able to identify you. So be very careful about the power that you have. Innovation versus integrity. None trumps each other, I don't think. I think integrity is about the core values that you bring to anything that you do. You know, many people talk about, you know, integrity, respect for other people. Respect, because all these things are built into the person that you are, the kind of humility that you'll end up showing. If you don't respect other people, you don't have that value, then you'll treat people like shit, basically. And so, but at the same time, we all want to do things better, and there is nothing that cannot be done better. Remember that statement on excellence, never settle. If people settled, we'd all be watching TVs that were fat and big and ugly and clunky, but someone said we can improve this. That's how we got from black and white to colored. Then we got to where we got to now, to the point where basically you'll have something, I don't know, stuck in your head here, where ultimately you pick and choose. Imagine some of us, I know we're not exactly of the same generation, but then, you know, you got to the point where someone was saying, okay, you can pause live TV. And I'm a football fan. You know, you pause live TV. Before, you won't go anywhere. In fact, God forbid, you feel like going to the toilet during an Arsenal match. Sorry, I'm an Arsenal fan. You'll be like, it will stay there until